Hey, she looks at home here, all nestled away in this driveway. I'm gonna have to make this one quick because it's starting to sprinkle on me out here, but maybe I can seek cover underneath this giant tree. And this one, this might be a sycamore. I'm not an arborist, so I'm not 100% sure. So I'm gonna have to look that one up and see what that bark looks like. Maybe it's a sycamore tree. But welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, and welcome back to my new, or welcome for the first time to my new home. Because yes, we bought for the night, just for one night, the ability to stay here at this beautiful Airbnb. And we are here actually in somewhere where I really didn't expect to be, and this is probably going to be a reoccurring theme over the next several days as we continue our summer vacation road trip. Side note, heading up north, there are more mosquitoes here than there are in the south. It's crazy. But either way, I'm not gonna walk in this grass, get my shoes wet and then go inside and track it in the house. But there is a fire pit back there, but I don't think with this current weather situation, we're gonna be using that fire pit. Nor will we be using this basketball hoop, but you know, I guess there could be worse situations to be in. But nonetheless, let me take you guys inside. Now, I do want to show you every part of this lovely home. In my opinion, I would consider to be affordable. And we'll get to that in just a moment. But what I really want to talk to you guys about more so is vacation and vacationing, or lack thereof, because as we were on our way here, I was listening to the radio, and I guess the DJ, I guess they still call them DJs, the disc jockey, or at least the radio personality, he was saying that he was about to head out on vacation. And he said he had a 1-week vacation. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if I would really consider 1 week enough to call it a true vacation. And some scribbling going on the wall here. We got a basement. We got the main floor here. We got this, and this is like completely renovated. This place is super nice. So I'll give you guys a tour later. Oh, and then we got this up here. What was up here? What were y'all jumping on? What were y'all jumping on?
It's so much fun.
Whatever it is, it probably wasn't shown on the Airbnb. It's like a surprise. Because I don't remember.
That.
Oh, giant beanbag. Don't hit your head on the ceiling.
It's fun.
Oh, man.
You should do it. I'll record you. It's so much fun.
Oh, is that a chimney? No, that's not a chimney. What is that? That's just that might be a chimney. Or just a flue for, maybe for the kitchen. I'll jump on it later.
It's so fun.
I'll jump on it later. Watch my luck. I'll jump on it and break, so I'll have to go to the ER. But yeah, I gotta be careful because the ceilings are actually pretty high, but the doorway and some of these bulkheads are kind of low. But either way, nonetheless, we got Squirrel Tribe down.
You got 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah, we're about to start our live stream, or her live stream that I'll be joining her on. But after that, we're gonna be getting down on this Pac-Man. Oh yeah, but that's where we are, Fargo. I completely lost track of that. We are in North Dakota, Fargo. Again, didn't expect that, but here we are nonetheless. And there's a few things that I wanted to talk to you guys about while we're here. So I have to make this quick because it seems like I got about 5 or 10 minutes before I need to get ready and pop them bottles for what will ultimately be Monday Mimosa, or Mimosa Monday on Tuesday. So she called it Tequila Tuesday, but she says we're still gonna be drinking mimosas. So, but the thing is, 1 week, now maybe if my vacation didn't include any travel, so ultimately it was a staycation, I would consider 1 week possibly enough. But if I have to travel, that means literally if my vacation starts on a Saturday, like Friday is my last day, that means Friday after work, I got to hit the ground running. And then I got Saturday, Sunday, all the way over to the next week. But odds are I'm coming home more than likely before Sunday. Now, with that being said, flying and traveling for vacation is typically more expensive Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So maybe you want to stretch it out to a Monday, but then you're over a week. Or you come back sooner, like Thursday, but then you've kind of lost the rest of your vacation. But that's before we even get to the topic of the wind down, because you can't hit the ground running Friday after work, go on vacation until the following Sunday, and then go to work Monday. You will be exhausted. And unfortunately, that's kind of where we're at today, where people don't necessarily have the ability, the freedom, the flexibility, and the time, or the ability to produce their income and vacation. That's the most important part, is because typically people have more vacation time stored up than they can actually use. So, granted, paid vacation does help, but when you can produce income from literally anywhere, working remotely, as long as you theoretically have an internet connection or 5G or whatever it may be, then you can ultimately make every day a vacation. Now, I do want to bring you guys some additional information on this particular property, this Airbnb, and what historically has happened with this property from reviewing Zillow and the recent sales and some of the old pictures before the renovations were completed, and the new valuation and listing price, and ultimately how this property became available as an Airbnb short-term rental. Now, we have it for the night, and from here we'll be moving on and continuing our travels. But while we're here, we're going to take in as much of this as possible and show you guys as much of it as we can. But with that being said, there are talks, there are rumors, there are headlines, there are analysts, economists, there are actually investors and landlords all talking about Airbnb, VRBO, short-term vacation rentals, and this potential market crash. And what happens to the people who got in right before the crash? Or will there really be a crash? And if so, who is it going to affect? Because this particular property that we chose to stay in costs 3 times more than a nearby alternative. But there is a reason why we chose to stay here. And in order to not lose your, if this is your property and you don't want to lose your ass on it, then as an investor, you're going to have to find ways to appeal and stand out to potential customers or else, really. I mean, you're going to suffer the fate, much like a lot of other people who are kind of getting lumped into this category and overlooked, which is ultimately hurting them financially from being able to bring in revenues and profits for these vacation rental properties that their odds are not utilizing and occupying full time. Now, if you have an Airbnb space or a room or whatever, or additional rental opportunity on your primary property, then that's a different story. But if this is a standalone and it needs to produce, then you got to keep it booked. You got to keep heads in the beds, I think is what they call it. Now, like I said, standing out is going to be key. And it's only going to be worse if potentially you bought your investment vacation rental recently and are on top of everything else paying the higher or highest interest rates we've seen here lately. Or even worse, you may have even depleted your retirement savings or your nest egg to go all in on an underperforming Airbnb rental right before the market takes a drastic nosedive. But again, I said we chose this for a reason. And this, granted, besides the other two options, really, there was another that was reasonably priced or comparatively priced, and another that was probably about 60 to 70% less expensive than this one. Now, with that being said, there are additional fees that we need to take into consideration, which include Airbnb's fees as well as the cleaning fees. So when you see a price on Airbnb, that's nowhere near close to what you're actually going to spend to rent that property, because there are additional fees on top of that. So keep that in consideration. Now, I will say that with this one in particular, I chose to filter my search for specifically superhosts. So I didn't want to take a risk. I was sitting down in Nashville at the Virgin Hotels eating brunch, and the couple next to me said that they ended up in that hotel because the Airbnb that they had booked and rented was completely disgusting. So they had to leave, get a refund, and book a hotel. I felt as though, with the limited options available to us here in Fargo, let me go with a superhost, someone who's proven themselves and has a history and track record, which is going to be very important for others getting into this rental market. Because even if you have the best property, if you're brand new and you have no reviews and no bookings and you're not a superhost, it's just going to make it that much more difficult for you to gain the interest of people out there willing to shell out and pay what it's worth to rent your Airbnb. But like I said, there was a specific reason, or actually maybe several reasons why we chose this one. Number one, we didn't have to pay the additional parking fees that all these hotels are charging, whether it's for self-parking or for valet parking, which in Chicago got up to $75 a night. Now, there are ways in which we can skirt around that and avoid those fees. And if you guys want to know about that, then by all means, hit me up. I'll let you know. But sometimes you can't avoid them. And that is just added on top of the cost to stay. Additionally, we need to wash clothes. So we've got a laundry bag full of clothes we need to get washed. And that is just another perk of being here, besides the square footage, besides the space. But more importantly, the ability to utilize this space for creative purposes, specifically for content creation, being YouTube, the different channels that we have. And ultimately, this is all entirely a business expense. So there are some extreme perks here, okay? I just want to let you guys know about that. But like I said, I'm running out of time here. We need to start this live stream soon. So real quick, I'm going to give you guys the rundown. There is increased competition amongst Airbnb short-term rentals, and that is not going to be conducive to excessive bookings or profitability unless you have a property designed and positioned and marketed in a way that allows you to stand out amongst the competition. Again, we had the choice. We had our pick. We had our, to choose, and we essentially chose the most expensive option out of the three, because it made the most sense for us. Now, if you have a cheaper option and you can keep it rented for long periods of time, then, that volume could potentially make up the difference for you. But if not, and you're expecting and experiencing lags and lulls in between, and maybe only getting 2 or 3 bookings a week or nights a week, then you're going to want to raise your price, and you're going to want to be able to make sure you can get that price by standing out. And that doesn't just mean having the perks and amenities, but marketing them and highlighting them in a way that would make people want to book. We can talk about that in more detail on another video. Now, how and why we ended up where we are. Severe weather has altered our travel plans yet again. And I think that has a lot to do with a lot of other travelers this year as well. in conjunction with potential financial instability, tighter budgets, less discretionary spending, their savings being tapped, their credit being exhausted, and it can have an impact on these rentals, on vacation, on travel, on tourism. And these Airbnb, these short-term rental, these investors could potentially be experiencing diminishing returns, because as every night goes by that they don't have a head in the bed, then essentially they have lost the ability to produce what they need to cover the cost of their investment. So they're not necessarily just losing money or subsidizing someone else's lifestyle. So then it causes them to creep their price up to make up for the days that they didn't get booked. And if you look on Airbnb, you'll see prices fluctuate and change literally by the minute. Now, this is in conjunction with local events, their competitors on Airbnb, surrounding properties, the whole nine. I would imagine that in certain areas where we have experienced extreme severe weather, flooding, people being displaced, knowing that there are limited options and hotels are going to probably be full and booked, or, if there's like some major event going on like Coachella or something like that, or severe weather where your insurance company is ultimately going to foot the bill, then you're going to see rates jump up, and they will fluctuate literally by the minute. So you got to pay attention to that. But either way, if you don't have the heads in the beds, then the vacancies are ultimately going to drive up the rent prices to cover the loss, unless you just want to eat it. All going to be dependent upon you and your risk tolerance level, your financial ability to float that cost, as well as, are you using AirDNA and other resources and tools to make sure that you're priced properly for the market and for your ability to be profitable? But again, these are all things that we can discuss on future videos. I've got some free links in the description down below, as well as ways that you can contact and connect me directly and have these discussions and conversations over on Patreon, some other videos, as well as links to the other channels. So if you want to see the full tour of this Fargo happy place, is what I'm going to call it, because that's what it says on the wall over there, Fargo happy place, check it out. And I will actually, Michelle, Squirrel Tribe, and I are going to sit down and we're going to do a video where we talk about the price. We're going to show you some before and after pictures. It's going to be some crazy stuff. I got to get on this live stream. We got to pop these bottles. I appreciate you guys watching. Smash the like button if you made it this far. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on your alerts and notifications. You guys take care. Be safe. See you real soon. Are you going to bring it down here?
Yeah. Make life easier.
Sweet.